Hello everyone, my name is PaperNapkin and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy I. In the last episode we climbed to the top of the Mirage Tower and we now find ourselves at the floating castle, which is pretty convenient because this is where we need to go in order to take out the fourth and final fiend. This area is pretty short, there's only a couple floors to it, and the floors themselves are actually pretty small. That being said, there's a lot of treasure to pick up along the way, so definitely take your time to make sure you get it all, because there's a few pieces of equipment, specifically armor, that you just don't want to pass up. Starting from this floor here, we have 4 directions that we can choose from. If you go north, it actually takes you to a teleporter which connects to the next floor over, so we're going to start with the path on the left. In terms of enemies, you're going to come across a lot of familiar faces, though there are some new enemies, so hopefully I'll show them off. Most of them are pretty vanilla, but there are a few that have a lot of really interesting abilities. Anyways, we have some treasure in here, and oh my goodness, look at that treasure chest. That is a thing of beauty, because honestly, the chest that we saw before, I don't really consider those to be treasure chests. That is a treasure chest. I actually feel like there's something valuable inside, even though it's just gold. And here we have some more gold, and I'm gonna guess, this is just a hunch, maybe there's more gold in here. Oh, just a heal potion. Never mind then. So probably not the best treasure room, but if you're in need of a heal potion, that's the place to be. Up next, let's go to the room to the south, and I actually remember there's an item down here which is both useful and useless at the same time, which doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, but you'll see what I mean. If you open this treasure chest, you get the Bane Sword, which, like its spell counterpart, if you use it in battle, it casts Bane, which is a poison instant kill spell. Doesn't really hit very often, a lot of enemies are immune to it. It does play, well, not an important role. You can use it at one specific instance, and it actually has a chance of doing something. So I'm going to hold on to it until then, and then you'll understand what I mean about it being kind of useful, I guess. But yeah. In terms of attack strength, it's not even worth equipping on anyone, so aside from that one instance that I'm talking about, you could probably toss it and not even care. But we have some treasure in here, the last of this floor, and I keep coming across the same enemies, which is pretty unfortunate. We have 5 treasure chests in here. Hopefully it's more than just gold. 180 gold. It's not even a lot of gold. Wow. More gold. Protect ring, which is really redundant at this point because I already have some. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop it. And in here we have more gold. And lastly, another heal helmet. I'm tempted to toss it, but it could actually be pretty useful. I'll give it the hope for now. If you run out of heal potions, what you can do, come across a weak enemy and just spam those heal helmets and then heal up until you're full. Kind of takes a while, but it gets the job done. Next up, let's go to the next floor. Whee! This is similar to the room we were just in, except we now have 8 positions to choose from. If we continue on south, it'll go to the teleporter to the next floor, so let's start with the top right room. Hopefully it'll have some treasure that's actually useful. There's one chest, and we have an opal gauntlet, which is not so useful. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop that. And it still pains me to toss this equipment. But really, we have no choice. We can only have 16 pieces of armor, which is not a lot. And I'm a collection freak. Whenever it comes to Final Fantasy games, I always keep one of every item, even if it's useless, like if I've already grown the level requirement for it. I just like to keep it as a memento of sorts. In this game, I can't do that, so it makes me cry on the inside. And here we have 2 chests. We have an opal shield, which I don't need at this point, so let's just toss it. And in here we have a ribbon with a 3rd and final ribbon. So finally, we got something that's actually useful. And I want to give this to Pancake, who already has it. There you go, perfect. And I need another spot in my inventory. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm going to equip the Zeus Gauntlet on Lexa and then drop the Pro Ring, just because the Pro Ring protects against instant death spells. The ribbon also does that, so it's kind of redundant. And this way I can still use Lightning 2 whenever I want. And I mean, the Zeus Gauntlet doesn't have that bad of absorb, so it actually might be a better option in the long run. Anyways, next up, let's head down here, see what's in this nice room down here. I keep coming across the same enemies, which is kind of annoying me. But we have a white shirt. Alright. This is a pretty useful item. You give it to your white wizard. It has pretty good absorb. It's already... No, it's not. Alright. If you use it in battle, it casts invisibility too, which at this point in the game is actually pretty useful, especially against boss fights. So keep that in mind. It also protects you against something else I can't remember. It's one of the status ailments. Nothing too important. Because I mean, the ribbon already pretty much covers everything. In here we have the black shirt, which you would give to your black wizard if you had one. It's a pretty interesting item in that it protects you from ice damage and poison. And if you use it in battle, it actually casts ice too, so it's pretty useful. Do I want to keep it? I think I do, but in order to do that, I need to drop one of my heal helmets. So I'm gonna drop it on Lexa. Yeah, that makes sense. And there we go. I still want to have one blank spot in my armor inventory just because there are a couple more pieces to get down in this dungeon. Well, up in this dungeon, I guess. We'll skip the southern path for now, come down to this room. Remember that mini boss from the ice cavern? Well, it's actually a normal enemy here, and I keep coming across it. And while I'm not really afraid of its instant kill spells because we're immune pretty much, I really just don't like looking at that guy. He's pretty ugly. If we come in here, we have one treasure chest, and it contains the adamant. If you'll remember, there was a dwarf back in the dwarven cave that was asking about the adamant, and if we give it to him, he'll give us something very nice. Very nice indeed. So we'll make a note of that, and we'll go check him out after we're done here. But until then, let's continue upwards and see what other loot we can pillage from here. And I have to say, this music is kind of creeping me out. It's kind of like a futuristic but horror vibe to it. We have 2 chests in here. Okay, not too bad. 880 gold, which is peanuts. And we have a new enemy, finally! I was wondering if these guys were going to pop up. This is the Grey Naga. This is probably one of the strongest normal enemies in the game, at least in terms of hit points. They're pretty weak physically, they don't do a whole lot of damage. They like to cast ruse on themselves, so they have a bit higher evade. Nothing to worry about too much, just take it out as quickly as possible. And yeah, just like that. 1 round, didn't really do any damage. Lots of gold, not that we actually need it anymore. And here we have 13,000 gold. How much gold do I have, really? 333,000, wow. And to think it's just gonna sit there, doing nothing. If only I could go back in time and give it to myself when I actually needed it. Oh well. Last dream in here, hopefully something good. We have 2 chests, let's go on the right first. We have a house, not too bad. And a silver helmet. What the heck? What is this even doing here? It's not even useful at this point. Easy toss, don't have to look back at that decision. But now that we have all the treasure on this floor, why don't we go on to the next one? What do you say? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, let's go there. Let's take this teleport. Oh my god. Game, why you be trolling me? So, this is an interesting floor, and that it's kind of all over the place. We're supposed to be in a floating castle. How this looks like a floating castle, I have no idea. Like the first floor, we have 4 different paths we can go, north, south, west, east. If you go to the west, teleported to the next floor. If you go to the south, there's no treasure, probably just skip over that altogether. So let's start with the northern path. As you can see, there's a robot down there, but we'll worry about him later. And really, this is a interesting design. We got 4 chests, which is a good start. 9,000 gold. A protect ring, which I don't need. I keep finding them. Almost makes me feel bad for spending so much money on them. And here we have a heal potion, always nice to have. And some more gold, so really nothing special. Really, a lot of this treasure is just lackluster at this point. I mean, aside from the adamants and those 2 shirts, we're not really finding too much. I'll talk to you on the way back, just because I put treasure over storyline any time of the day. At least in this game. There's not so much storyline going on, but yeah. And here we have 6 chests, okay. Let's start with this guy here. Soft potion, very nice. Gold, oh my goodness. More gold. Cloth armor? Are you for real, game? Why would you put this starting piece of armor here? Oh my god. Maybe it's like a special piece of cloth that's bugged or something. No, it's not. Just toss it. More gold. And a protect cape. Okay, finally something worthwhile. The protect cape is actually a shield. I'm not really sure how a cape functions as a shield, but I'm not gonna, argue with the game. You can actually give this to your wizards. I'm gonna give it to Hope. Okay, Hope already has it. Perfect. And bam, look at that. Hope has a final set of equipment that I'm happy with. The Pro Cape adds some extra absorb, so Hope should be able to last a little bit longer. And yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. So let's backtrack a little bit here in this weird architecture. And now I'm starting to come across some enemies from the Castle of Ordeal. That was kind of weird. Mr. Robot. You're a green robot this time. Wow, they're different colors. I never noticed that. You can look out over the world from this window. What window? Yeah, this thing here is actually a window. When I first played this game as a kid, I had no idea. I mean, it looks just like a hole in the floor, but if you walk over here, apparently you can look down on the world and you can see 4 forces are flowing from the 4 altars where we defeated the fiends, and it's flowing into the temple of the fiends. That's where we fought Garland at the very beginning of the game, so it's kind of hinting that we need to go there after we do this little section here, but keep that in mind for later. Next up, we can skip this southern path just because it's an empty room, nothing worthwhile. We have some treasure over here, and there's a teleporter down there. Let's get the treasure first. We have a saw potion. We're finding a lot of saw potions, even though the enemies here can't really stone you. Well, that's not true. There's some enemies that can, but we're pretty much immune. We do find the katana, which is one of the best weapons in the game if you have a ninja. Unfortunately, I don't, so I'm probably just going to toss it at some point or other, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish I had a ninja at this point, just because I kind of badmouth them so much, but really, when you do get it to be a ninja, they're pretty useful. Now, this is an interesting part of the floating castle. It reminds me a lot of the Lost Woods from the Legend of Zelda games, and that it all looks the same. There's a lot of different intersections, and there's only one that actually has the teleporter to the next level. Fortunately, I know the way to get to it. You just go right twice and then south twice. But if you had no idea, you could find yourself lost pretty quickly. And I remember when I was younger, actually, I had no idea where to go. So what I did, I called up my friend's dad, who was like 40 at the time, and I had him explain to me how to get past this area, which is kind of funny and weird at the time. Like, I didn't know any better because I was young, but looking back now, it must have been kind of awkward for him. And now we are at the final little area of the floating castle. This place is pretty famous just because it's known as War Machine's Bridge. And the reason for that is you have a 3 in 64 chance of encountering an enemy called the War Machine. It's an incredibly powerful enemy. It's pretty much like the ultimate weapon or the Omega weapon of later Final Fantasy games. It's incredibly strong. And if you're not prepared for it, it could totally catch you off guard. If you do come across it, treat it as a boss battle, set up some fast, do much damage as possible, make sure you heal as often as too. Pre-healing isn't a bad idea as well. I think I'm going to end the episode here so that I have a chance to heal up and then try to get into an encounter with him so I can show it off in the next episode. But until then, my name is PaperNapkin. Take it easy, folks.